Hey, good morning. Welcome everyone to African Travel and More. How's it going? Gonna start with a little bit of music. Get it started. Da, 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 Hey, good
Okay.
morning.
I
Good
just came up with that
morning.
like
Hey, good morning.
1 minute. Hello, Melanie. How are you doing today?
Yes, and welcome back. And look who we have. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Francis. And good morning, Miss Janelle. How are you? Thank you. Thank you. So listen, I hope that everything has been going well with you all. I hope that your week has been a blessed week. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about businesses. The best, well, I won't say it's our opinion, but businesses that can work. We're thinking in Africa, businesses that um, are needed from our observations from traveling to many countries. So that's what we want to come to you today talking about are those businesses. Okay. So let's get it started. You know, I'm not one to just put it off. So I came up with a list of things, and Jeff came up with a list of things based on like travel to different countries and, talking, connecting with people who are in business and also, yeah, that sort of thing. So you want to go first, or you want me to go first with some businesses that will work? You want me to kick it off?
Yeah, so basically the idea is there's a different list of businesses you can start,
Mhm.
and then there are businesses that work better in some countries
Good
and
morning.
don't work as well in other countries.
Mhm.
Um, One of the things that we looked at too was some of the countries uh, what has been ranked as the best countries to do business in.
Right.
And the ranking, there's a whole
It's a whole
series
list.
of things they use the ranking. One is how stable the country is,
Yes.
how easy it is to start a business, how many steps you have to go through in order to get a business started,
Mhm.
how easy it is to enforce contracts, how easy it is to exchange contracts,
Mhm.
sell ideas, and how easy it is to collaborate with other people in the
Mhm.
country, how easy it is for foreigners to work with the business in the country. And
Mhm.
it's a and it goes on and on and on, about
Mhm. The ranking.
that. So and there and real quick, some of the countries we've been to that has been ranked high in the top 10 has been
Rwanda.
Rwanda,
Mhm.
uh, South
South Africa.
Africa, Zambia, and
Mhm.
Zambia surprised me because being
Yes.
there and it the people were really nice, but we didn't really get into the government, and it didn't seem like it was working as efficiently as the ranking suggests. But that's Gambia's there,
Mhm.
Botswana, we've been there, and it's in the top 10,
Mhm.
and Ghana has is moved up. A few years back, it was number 17, but now Ghana is in the top 10.
Yes.
And Nigeria is there only because of the size. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think in terms of how business operate. I hear this from people who work in business in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, the richest African black person in the world is resides and
In
does business
Nigeria.
in Nigeria.
Correct.
So those are some of the ones. Do you see any more? Because we're just kind of looking from
You
a
mean the
random
list?
list.
The
Yeah.
list.
Do we see any more?
Namibia.
Oh yeah,
Namibia.
we've
It's
been to
not in the top
Namibia.
10, but it's ranked 11, and this is based on regional ranking doing business. This is 2020, last year, doing business. Let me see. Uganda's on the list
Right.
as well. Senegal.
Okay.
It goes on and on for countries to do business in, and the opportunities are there for you to do business. Before you say good morning, we have Frederick from Ghana. Welcome, welcome. He's on, and Isaac and Janelle. Welcome back. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah,
So basically, it's no surprise that the countries that's best to do business in is also the country that's easiest to travel to.
correct.
Of course, and you have to have a stable government in order to go and tourists to be safe. So
Hmm.
we can go on and on about that, but we want to just give you sort of a little breakdown of a lot of countries we've traveled to, and that most of them are in the top 10 of countries that you can do business with foreigners. And one of the things that's going to change and improve that whole experience is the free trade agreement. And as that
Yes,
develops and moves, I think that foreigners who partner with people in the different countries are going to do that much better as the continent
yes,
improves. And now one of the things that was been given as advice is one of the great business gurus that, and one of the things I agree with is if you're going to do any kind of business in on the continent, you really have to be purposeful, meaning
yes.
that you really have to intend to do that. It's even in the United States, it's hard to have an accidental business. Even though you do, you always hear about somebody in their kitchen whipping up
Whipping up
some
something,
cookies,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden people
Famous
say,
Amos.
right, people say, I like those cookies, and next
Right.
thing you know, they got business all over. That's one of those things you hear about all the time, and then everybody in the country is trying to sell their apple pie, and they go out of business.
Right, right.
But still, you have to be purposeful and
Yes.
intentional about it.
Always.
You have to
Always.
operate with a little bit of urgency, and the reason I say that is, and I've said this on videos before, and I know I'm hogging all the
No,
space
go
from my
ahead,
wife,
sweetheart. Go ahead.
is that some of the fastest growing countries, economies in the world is on the continent of Africa.
True.
And it's not may not necessarily be the country that you like the most, but it's definitely on the continent. And it might be the country that you like the most. But the fastest growing economies in the world is on the continent of Africa.
True.
The youngest country or the continent of Africa. It's very young, fast growing, and where Africa is now, and I've said this many times, is about where China was about 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yes.
And I'm a little older than a lot of people on the channel, but I remember when, China was, if you bought something and it was from China, it was crap. You're like, that's crap. It's from China, right? But now you can't buy anything that's not from China.
Right.
So it's
yes, everywhere.
And through that process, through that whole economic process and trade and manufacturing and processing and marketing, China is the number 2 economy in the world. It's fastest growing billionaires in the world, fastest growing millionaires in the world.
Correct.
And by some measures, it creeps up and it becomes the number 1 economy. It's the number 1 manufacturing economy in the world, where the United States used to be that.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, the urgency, it doesn't mean that you drop everything right now and go wild-eyed on the continent of Africa and lose your fortune.
Right.
It just means
You must
that
be very strategic and
exactly,
you must do your due diligence.
exactly,
You must. That's key. That's why a lot of people have problems with it, because they do not do their due diligence and they just start flinging money everywhere.
yeah,
And that's a recipe for disaster. Okay. But there are many business opportunities on the continent. There's many opportunities if you do your due diligence and research, where you can collaborate with other business and business people on the continent. You can gain investors, but that comes from being an expert. Okay, being an expert in your area, and moving forth with that, because who's going to invest their money and you haven't done the research? So
exactly.
yeah,
So,
so
and
mhm.
one more thing, and that is with that sense of urgency, and
Good
urgency simply
morning.
means you go forth. Oh, did you want to make a comment?
No, I just want to welcome Nashili. I can't really see that so well with that one. But good morning. Welcome everyone that's just now joining us. I see someone said they had to leave us because they have to study for the university exams. Yes, that's more important. We need you to study for your university exams and join us at a later time. But go on. That's what I was just noticing with that one.
Right. So the urgency simply means you need to look and get started right away.
Mhm.
And the road, and then the next thing is the roadmap, and that means that you want to be guided in some kind of way. There,
Mhm.
it's easy to hook up with people. I mean, we go a lot. Matter of fact, just as an aside, we do business on the continent,
Mhm.
and our business has been growing. And of course, the pandemic put a damper on almost all the businesses. But
It didn't
just
stop
just
us.
yeah, just to let you know that we do have a footprint, and we are uh, in the business. So we're not someone telling you stuff that we're not doing. So anyway, but you need a roadmap. So how do you get that roadmap? It's part of your due diligence, and it's
Mhm.
part of meeting and communicating with people and just learning from people and actually going there,
Yes,
getting your
please.
foot on the ground. And some of
Yes.
you may already be there,
Right. Yeah,
as we're
Ghana's in the
talking.
house. We have
Right.
Ghana in the house.
But it's not just,
Welcome.
and Ghana is a very important strategic area of the continent. And
Hmm.
there are other areas also that you want to look at too, in addition to Ghana, and have that partnership and then have that relationship around the continent. And we that's these are the suggestions we say, from the beginning, so we can start. I'll chime in a little bit more, but Yolanda will start with one of the ideas that we now keep in mind. These ideas are not exhaustive, and
Mm.
if you have something that,
Please, yes,
yeah, share
put it,
with us.
share it, because
Okay.
this is our opinion based on our travel and talking with friends on the continent, talking with other business people on the continent. So the
And right at the end, we're going to give you each of our opinions. As of today, it'll probably change tomorrow. Our opinion of what we think is the best opportunity. It's maybe the same, it may be
it
different.
may be
Go ahead.
different. Okay, so the first thing that's I think is a fantastic business opportunity is real estate. Okay, is real estate and developing affordable housing, and then developing housing altogether. That's in, I said that's across the continent. Okay, but the countries that I would feel very comfortable in by list of ranking of, say, developing, would be Ghana, of course, Rwanda, um, Botswana, okay, of purchasing, creating affordable housing. Okay, it is very, very, I would say it can be very lucrative. Real estate is a good investment um, in the United States as well. Okay, so that's a no-brainer. But I noticed the unique opportunity on the continent of Africa, because there are many people who need affordable homes,
Mhm.
and the system there, and I'll say in speak of in Ghana, but I'm sure, or I won't say I'm sure. I just say I believe possibly in other countries it's the same. Whereas when you rent a an apartment or a home, you do not pay month to month like in the United States. You pay year, like that. You pay 24 months in advance, but it's not the same. You may find a property that's maybe 200 a month and so forth, and then you just do the math for that. But anyways, real estate, real estate, real estate. So that's my first.
Right. So then the question becomes, if you're not a millionaire or not even a thousandaire, you know, maybe you're just a hundredaire.
A hundred. Lord have mercy.
You know, how do you get started in that?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
one of the things I've seen a lot of the people on the continent do is they just start their own little YouTube blog.
Hmm.
They find people who are interested in selling, maybe people who don't. And this is not, I mean, this I see mostly in Ghana, but you can do this in
Yes.
on any country. You get with someone who may not be able to communicate as well, speak the language as well, or whatever, and you're able to express to people in the diaspora, that could be United States, Europe, the Caribbean, wherever,
Right.
Brazil, whatever, and you can communicate with them what they have to sell, and then you get a piece of that action,
Hmm.
meaning that you get a commission on that, or you can go to the ground and film stuff. And I see people doing it all the
All the
time,
time.
and they're filming, and then they have their own little YouTube channel, blog, whatever,
Hmm.
and they get a little piece of the action. And then you can also pull together investors here who are interested, because I've seen people, I mean, people you would not trust if you saw them in the street, who are making money pulling
Yeah.
investors from the United States investing
Right.
on the continent. Now, some of those people have done some dubious things,
Right.
some bad things,
Right.
but I'm saying, so I just kind of chimed in
That's okay.
just to offer
Yeah.
a way for us hundredaires and
Hmm.
thousandaires to get in and to start to move up in that marketplace.
Yes. And
Okay,
collaboration is
right.
key. It's key in business, but knowing who you are collaborating with, like he said, that's important. But say when you're talking about developing, creating affordable housing, perhaps you can purchase on your own and develop it. That's a good thing too. But if you can't, you can always pool investors, okay? Pool investors together and then do it because it's needed. Affordable housing, that's the one thing that when I was doing the research about this for this topic this week, I said, yes, across the continent of Africa, affordable housing is needed.
Mhm.
Period. Real estate is needed. And I'm not going to go into how people will always say that the lands, the lands, the lands, it's not because it's different in each country. And that's the one thing that probably makes it unique and somewhat of a challenge. But I think with, as Jeff, I don't know if he's talked a little bit about the free trade agreement, that that's going to help, in my opinion, to make it more unified in doing business with on the continent. But anyways, that was my first one, was real estate. Okay,
Right.
was
And
real
tying
estate
into the real estate market, and this is
because I love real estate.
everywhere, is dealing with solar, like
Yes.
any type of solar cells,
Hmm.
because the electrical grid in many of the countries on the continent is gotten so much better over the last decade. Yet it can be relatively expensive, and solar
It's
makes it
very expensive.
very affordable. I mean, I was looking at a place in Gambia, we were looking at investing in a place, and buying into a beachfront area.
Hmm.
Um,
Very beautiful.
and one of the, we were pricing out things, like doing a borehole, building the well, having the water, doing the sewer lines, and then tapping into the electrical grid or solar. And then, of course, the upfront cost of solar was more, but then the long-term cost,
Mm-hmm.
it pays for itself in about a year. The long-term cost is great. So that is, I think, very important because you can go way off the grid
Mm-hmm.
into many areas and start to work with a building or community or what have you, or just a little small village with mud huts, which
Mm-hmm.
it's still common in many countries. And you can have solar energy going there to power their cell phones, power their small appliances, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So that's very important. And then you can get into that pretty inexpensively. It's just to educate the marketplace
Mm-hmm.
and to have it at a price point where the marketplace can afford it. And I'll give you an example. I can go to like Walmart and get me some little solar lights.
Mm-hmm.
That's very
Sure.
inexpensive. I
Expensive.
can just go there and get $3, $4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, it's made in China, but anyway,
Well,
I can go for $3 or $4 and give me some lights
mm-hmm.
all around my house. I can do that. Each light, $3, $4.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that you can see that the cost, you can transfer that to many places in the continent that would need something like that, can benefit from something like that. So that was an attachment to housing, but in
Mm-hmm.
solar panels, and I mean, it's solar
Right.
is going to be everywhere. It's a super fast growing
Oh
market,
yeah, and it's lots of sun
right?
on the in the
On the
motherland.
continent, it's a
So
lot of sun.
so once you can get it up and running, it's a done deal. It's a wonderful thing, the solar. So that solar, but were you going to go into one of your
Yeah,
besides you want to
the other one is probably it's more water purification, and I'm
mm-hmm,
not talking about necessarily purifying a whole community, which
mm-hmm,
can be relatively expensive. But a lot of times, people on the continent, they buy a lot of bottled water, they buy a lot of packaged water.
mm-hmm,
Now, these it's going to be I'm going to say two things at once. If you get an affordable purification system where they can take the water they get from their tanks and from the boreholes in different places, and you get a good system, it will reduce the amount of trash
mm-hmm.
that is in the community.
Sure.
Now, of course, we know there is a whole thing with uh she's going to talk about
Yes,
waste management. So
yes,
that's what
because
I'm saying,
that's
it's
a
two things
business.
at
Yes,
once.
waste
Um
management.
so a
Yes.
water purification, and especially for foreigners who come there, we go there and we always have to buy bottled water. We have to, like, many people brush your teeth with bottled water, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I don't,
I don't.
that's up to you.
That's a choice.
But
Yeah.
anyway, just a simple, because there's a bunch of simple purification
Mm-hmm.
systems that people can use and they can use consistently every day, and that will help the whole waste management thing.
True.
I'm
You
sorry.
know what?
Mhm.
I wasn't going to talk about waste management, list that, but I am going to list it. But my next business that I want to mention is agriculture and farming.
Okay.
Agriculture and farming is because Africa has over 1 billion mouths to feed. Okay. And they produce many crops. Okay. Many crops. And but it needs to be a way. I'm looking at my notes for it to be processed. So that leads into the agricultural processing. But the farming, I want to go back to that. I
Hmm.
forget the guy's name that we met in the Gambia, that we actually did the video.
Right. We have a video
Right.
on a
I'm gonna link
individual.
it. I'm gonna
Hmm.
link it to this once this processes. I will link his video. But when you are doing the farming, you're reaching the hotels, stores, etc. And it's lucrative. It can be very lucrative. And to tell you the truth, that's something that I know I'm very interested in, is farming, because I enjoy gardening. But gardening is a much it's a small scale. When you're talking about doing business with farming, that's on a much larger scale, and you're able to support and employ many people. Okay. And so that's kind of where I'm going with that. And you definitely want to collaborate with other people who are successful in this. So just like we met, oh gosh, I wish I could remember his name. Uh, he had laid out the plan, business plan. If you go to that video, once I link it, you can actually contact him because we met him in Ghana, but he's a Gambian and he has been doing this business for many years and has been successful with it and was looking for investors. So farming and agriculture, that is the one that I list. So you can move into yours, or you want me to go on into the next one and just
Oh yeah, yeah.
look at
So
the time?
farming and
It's
agriculture
money.
is important. You know, of course, there is ways you can get into it that's inexpensive. Like I've heard people talk about. One interview I talked about a guy who started a fish farm, and he just started
Oh
with a
yeah.
small little pond,
Mm-hmm.
so very cheap,
And it grew.
inexpensive, and the whole thing with business is business management and reinvestment in your business. What happens, and I'm going to get back to the farming, what happens with many of us,
Hmm.
and I see it with many of the people on the continent, when I see them, even the people who have their little carts on the side of the road,
Mm-hmm.
they sell for a day and then they have to replenish for the next day.
Right.
They don't sell for the future, meaning that they take a portion and reinvest and get a little bit better and reinvest and get a little bit better and reinvest. And next thing you know, the cart becomes a bigger cart,
Mm-hmm.
becomes more carts, becomes a storefront, becomes a whole building,
Mm-hmm.
becomes
A corporation.
a mall,
That
you know?
that's here too, though. So that's just good business principle,
And that's
is what
part of
you're
what
talking
I
about.
think
Isaac.
Isaac
Uh-huh.
Isaac is saying.
Yes,
He said,
apart from real estate, I think building empty factories for sale and rentals will also be a good option. True,
right.
true.
So that's
Thank you.
another thing, because that's he's there's two things that we discuss in building empty business offices. You not only have something for factories and manufacturing, but you also have office space, co-space. I talked about this on one of the
Mm,
videos, is that sometimes as the people in the diaspora are, as they're growing and as they're like producing different types of content, as they're getting into more business, many of the people don't have a storefront or a business front or office to entertain customers, to shoot videos, things like that.
mm,
So that's where that whole concept of building and having at
mm-hmm.
least by the day, by the hour comes into
Right.
play, because somebody wants to entertain. A foreigner's come and you want to talk to them and have a
Mm-hmm.
business meeting,
Mm-hmm.
you say, come to my office.
Right.
And you just, all it is a co-space.
Right.
You've rented a room, you
Mm-hmm.
go in there, it got your picture in it and everything. It's your office for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
That's a good
Then
business.
the next hour, somebody says, we're going to shoot a video. They come in there and they just kind of change it around a little bit and they shoot their video. You have equipment in there, you have the technology in there.
Mm-hmm.
That business, I think, is going to grow, especially in like metropolis like
Accra.
Accra,
Mm-hmm.
Kumasi,
Mm-hmm.
like when you go to parts of Nigeria, parts of Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
These I
Touch.
can see that type of business growing. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I'm running my mouth. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's a good one. You know what? And that's actually how what is this one? Internet service uh providers or
Hmm.
internet cafes are businesses that because what is his name? Made one. I forget his name. Craig.
Hmm.
He created a internet cafe. And to us maybe we think, oh, if you're in the States or in other, you think, oh, that can't work. Yeah, it can work. Different you have to kind of understand what's needed in that particular
Hmm.
country, and then beyond the country, in that particular within the country, in a particular region, what is needed. Okay, you really have to do your due diligence and know Good morning, good morning, good morning, Africa Rain. Welcome. So the next one, the next business that I'm scrolling is education. Now,
Hmm.
if you education, and that's across the continent. I'm going to tell you, if you have a way to develop um, education, schools, but educational services. And what I'm also noticing, because this is our background, special education. Special education services are needed. Okay, if you're able to come in and develop um, businesses, even with virtual schools, because I think that's something that's going to stay,
Right.
is here to stay. We, in the U.S. right now, I'm still teaching online part of the day, and now we're just now starting to go back 2 times during the week into the schools, and it's needed. It's needed. And if you have an area of expertise in special education, which is our background, you will do quite well in establishing, I don't know, maybe if you consultation, maybe if you actually put schools together, it will do well. It will do well
Hmm.
because that's one thing I noticed that's valued across the continent is education, educational products. There was a lady that has a educational store. We didn't visit it um, this past time that we were in Accra. It's in the Accra Mall. She has a education store that
Hmm.
does very well, very well. Okay, she sells education products, educational supplies, and does very well. So if you have an expertise in the education, use your mind to come up with something that will work. It's really kind of wide open. Um, you just have to be really, really creative about it. I'm trying to think one more thing, and maybe you want to piggyback on there.
Yeah,
Look, it
one of
was
the things that I think is a need, is a dire need for the
there. It is.
continent is educating those with some sort of disabilities, identifying
Mm-hmm.
and educating individuals with learning or even physical disabilities.
True.
I, yeah, it's understood as developing countries. Some countries are doing it better than others.
Yes.
As developing countries, those things are not as well understood or cannot be managed well. And it's
No,
I understand it,
because
you know,
culturally,
because
culturally,
well, even in our country,
I know.
there's disabilities, learning, intellectual,
Hmm.
mental health, all this sort of stuff,
Hmm.
where I we see
We're lagging in this.
huge
Yes.
gaps, and this is the richest economy in the world, and there are huge gaps. So you can only imagine when you're into developing economies, there's going to be huge gaps. But I
Right.
do see there's opportunity there. I
Hmm.
see opportunity in helping people to learn about disabilities,
And
mental health, physical health,
yes,
things like that,
yes.
and how to work with them. And that's part of our specialty, even though we haven't opened up a business or anything like that. Part of the
We've done some consultation, but mainly in oh gosh, in Uganda.
right.
Several years done teacher trainings at
Yes,
actually an
exactly.
orphanage. We a couple of
And
years have done it.
we need to probably do more of that. We're probably going to, we'll have to figure it out, invest more time into helping some of the schools that need
Hmm.
support, especially in that area that is missed a lot, and that is individuals with mental health,
Hmm.
learning disabilities, things like that, because
Hmm.
that is needed. I mean, I see so much need for that. I see it here,
Oh yeah,
but and I definitely see it there.
right.
So that goes along with education.
Yes, yes. Okay, let me see, let me see, let me see. Scrolling. I know one thing that I didn't mention, and it had to do with, uh, I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit um, because it was some interesting facts to me, and I hope it's interesting to you as well. When I discuss agriculture, also agricultural processing
Hmm.
is um, is a business. And I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. Um, it's from this article that I was reading, that it says even though Africa is blessed with a lot of food resources, the culture of importing processed foods from other continents, especially America and China, has been the norm. Okay, so African businesses are now beginning to demystify food production and realizing just how easy it is to process and package these food items. So there are two people that I wish to highlight that tapped into this agricultural processing very well. And one of them is Monica Mashonda, who is from Zambia. And as a matter of fact, she was the first female um, indigenous player in the noodle business. Now, she worked for Dangote Group in Nigeria. That's where she cut her teeth. That's where she got that experience, right? And so today, she created in her country of Zambia Java Foods. And wow, I've actually, when we've been in the supermarkets, because we tend to go to the supermarkets when we're in the countries because we
Mhm.
want to, sometimes we just want to buy stuff at the supermarket. And so you go, and I've seen Java Foods. Okay. And it's like, wow, okay. So she worked with Dangote, which is the richest man. She worked for his company, and then she went and created in her native country. And then the next person, and I hope I don't butcher his, he's Chef Pierre Thiam of Senegal, and he branded a local cereal, okay, that's called Fanio, and he actually targeted this shelf ready brand at Whole Foods, which is in the United States. So that's a very, very, very successful. That's a good thing. And plus, he was able to strike a deal with Whole Foods. So if you're able to, like I always say, collaboration is going to be key in this business process. And now with the free trade, I keep wanting to call it fair trade, but it's free trade agreement. With this free trade agreement, this benefits us foreigners, and I don't want to get backlash because we are foreigners when we go into the country. We're welcome home, but it's okay. Because I know some people are like, we're not foreigners. Yes, we are. We have a totally different culture, and that's okay. Our brothers and sisters on the continent accept that, and they welcome us home. We are welcome to do business. Okay. I haven't met any African brother or sister in any of the 16 countries at this point that we travel to that says, stop, we don't want you to do business with us. As a matter of fact, they always say, can you do business, or let's do business.
Mhm.
Okay. Wherever we go, we're connecting with people who wish to do business. So yeah. What's another
Well,
one
one
of
that
yours?
it's probably I don't know. It's probably saturated, but to do it to do it
There's always
well as an affordable thing, I think is still opportunity there, especially with as some countries are developing. That's tourism.
oh yes.
You know,
Oh yes.
arranging, setting up tours, doing tours,
Yes.
especially if you live on the continent.
Yes.
That is, basically, if you live on the continent, if it, how do I say?
Tourism and hospitality, yes.
There's we've been to different the countries and we've seen things that if people on that continent told people about, they would want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So these are maybe not the things that you see all the time. I mean, you see the great things like the Kilimanjaros, the Great Serengeti, the safaris, uh, Victoria Falls, or
Chobe, because I
uh,
just released the Chobe
but you
video.
don't hear much about Chobe. You
Yes. And
don't.
so that's why we
So
did it.
so
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like these are the biggies that always come up. And there's more you could probably list off, but there's a lot of beauty and gorgeous stuff within like 100-mile radius that
Mhm.
you can get a group of people to see as part of many of the countries there. So I think tourism, there's still a lot of opportunity. I say it's saturated because you get a lot of people saying we can do tours, we do tours, we do tours,
Right.
but a lot of them actually are overpriced.
Yes,
You know,
please.
if you learn
In
how
our
to,
opinion, it's highly
yeah,
overpriced.
because they usually are marketing to like more,
Hold your hands
yeah, more,
along the way.
they're usually marketing to like the upper middle class and the upper class,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of hand holding, and it's a lot of forming people into more high price facilities, hotels, that sort of thing, and so forth. So anyway, there's
Yeah.
opportunity there, especially if you're on the ground at some location. There's a lot of people just interested in just ordinary
Mhm.
everyday stuff
Right.
that you pass by every day that they
Right.
would love. Anyway.
Right. Well, to continue with that, there are a lot of untapped niches with African tourism, such as now we actually experience doing is Airbnb.
Mhm.
Okay, that's actually yeah, another business opportunity. But we actually experienced in Kenya and also Botswana. That was actually the first time we stayed at Air. Well, in Kenya was the first time we stayed at Airbnb. Even before, we haven't done it in the United States, I don't think. So it was out of the,
Mhm.
out of the country. So yeah, and in Botswana, but in both places was a very good experience. They had I know the woman in Kenya, in her home, she had it set up so well, whereas she made preparation for us to have our taxi, and because she was catering to foreigners, to tourists, and she had it set up in a way whereas you would visit her again. And then also in Botswana, which I wish to get this lady on one day for an interview. She's busy. She actually does this as a business, the tourism, and it's in Maun, Botswana, where she has her Airbnb, and that's where we stayed at that particular location. And during that time, she provided a cultural experience,
Mhm.
whereas she was going to dress in her cultural garb and prepare. Actually, you could cook with her, and she really had it set up so lovely. Okay, and then that grew, and now I think she's doing more tours. Is what last
Right,
speaking
and that
speaking
and
to her.
that's anyone on the continent who want to do that. Even if you're not on the continent, you can go
Hmm.
and do that, and that's very inexpensive because many times
Sure.
people do want to go and have an authentic experience. They want to
Right.
experience how your ancestors made this food, this fabric, this
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
It's a great. I mean, we always do it. I mean,
Right.
we go to people and people in their village or whatever, they've been
Hmm.
doing this every day all their lives,
Right.
and it is just fascinating for us to have that experience.
Right. Right.
So
It's
now
beautiful.
here's a business that if you find a location, I will partner with you, and
Okay.
that's taking on the whole concept of Airbnb and real estate and all that.
Right.
And Yolanda talked about it in many of the areas in West Africa, East Africa, whatever. They You get your facility, you lease by 6 months, a year,
Hmm.
2 years, whatever.
Right.
Some places will let you lease it, right? And then you can sublease it for Airbnb. Now I know a
Correct.
few people who are doing this,
Hmm.
but it's not a big thing.
Right.
If you could find a good lease, we've been there and we've looked at some and we've been thinking about it, but because all the countries are opening back up now,
Hmm.
because last year we couldn't even think about doing it because everything was closed.
Right.
But as countries are opening back up, I'm looking maybe to find some place to do a year, pay for a year or 2 years, and then lease it out for Airbnb. The only problem that we have is on the ground management. We got to find someone who
Can
who
manage.
yeah who
Yeah.
will clean it in between stays.
Right.
If you can find a good place for me, I'll partner with you on that.
Hmm.
So those if those you
Some
hundred
people
heirs,
are on the ground in Ghana. I think
right,
Frederick is on the ground in Ghana. Yes, because it's very it's possible. It's possible, and not everyone is this idea of people are always talking about scamming. People want to do business, and
right.
there are lots of, trust me, there are people on the continent that are quite capable of collaborating with
Hmm.
you to do it. You don't have to be a solo, a lone ranger. It's not that type of thing. You want to partner with people to do business. And that actually is a good idea. We actually have been looking, because we were saying if we rent a place here, we want to be able to not just let that place sit empty. You want to make some money off of
Right,
that
right.
place. You don't want to just have it sitting up until you come back in 6 months or a year. Turn it over, make it another stream of income for you. That,
E-
yeah, that will work.
exactly. So there's a whole opportunity there
Hmm.
because
And that's
Airbnb is
low
kind of
cost
right.
entry. That's not a very, because maybe we should explain. You can, when we say that you're paying, because I don't know who has the knowledge of this. When you're paying for 2 years, maybe you're paying $2,000 because maybe you find a place that's what is that correct? $200 a month.
No,
So
that would
that's
be more than
more.
that. But
It's more than that. My math is off.
so
But
like the from our experience, what we have been seeing, like in a decent area, decent neighborhood,
you're gonna pay a little
we've
bit more.
seen between like when you break it down, the yearly fee maybe between 100 and 200. 200 is a lot, uh, and you can get a really nice place. So let's take that example. Let's take the split in
Hmm.
between. Let's say about 150. So you're looking at maybe uh
About 20.
$1,500 a year, somewhere like that, maybe 2,000 a year.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So basically, Airbnb is going to be between $30 and $100,
Hmm.
depending on the size of the facility.
Hmm.
And in very attractive places, because you want to be somewhere that's somewhat attractive and fast growing. Even if you did $30 a day, after 10 days, that's $300. And most places are going to book for at least 20 days. So that's $600. So
Hmm.
if you're paying $150 a month and you're making $600, and then you
Yeah,
pay your cleaning person,
you're
which the
profit.
cost of labor is going to be cheap,
Right.
you sitting back and you can easily make $300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do that over and over again over about 5, 6 different places.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. So you can see the potential there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said, if you can find a place, those of you on the ground, if you can find a place that's nice,
Yes.
that offered a good 6 months, 1 year, 2 year lease, and they'll let you sublease it, I'll partner with you.
Right. And
I'll
that's
put up the money, and
right. Frank is on the ground. He says in Italy, he says, "Greetings, family. I'm in holiday in Italy. Welcome. Welcome, Frank. You are welcome." Okay. But this is
well,
good. This is very good what you're saying about the Airbnb,
right.
because that's very obtainable. You don't have to what do you call them? Thousandaire.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a millionaire. You can be a
A
thousandaire.
thousandaire,
You can be a
yes.
hundredaire
Right.
on that.
Airbnb. It's true. It's
Right.
true. And something else that I noticed,
Hmm.
what's a good business, and I know especially in well, not just Accra, but that's where I noticed it. And I know that it exists in other African countries that I've visited. Shopping malls, establishing and I know you say, oh, that's a big scale. But if you go and you see some of these stores, these big specialty stores, a lot of the Lebanese have come to set up these stores. So you're going back to investors, securing some investors. To me, I think you always want to think of collaborating to create, it's good when you have your solo business. We have our businesses, but you want to collaborate. Okay. And malls, the mall, when you go to on Sunday, the Accra Mall is packed.
Hmm.
These other stores are packed. There is definitely a growing middle class in Ghana. So a shopping mall is something that is needed. Production, creation of more shopping malls.
Yeah, and now one of the things is shopping malls are fast growing on the continent,
Yes. Hmm.
because as we travel around, we see the malls. Now, some mall areas are not doing this. Like we were in Uganda, the mall by the airport. That one's kind of
Yes.
iffy, and part of it is their prices are so high,
Yes. Yep.
and they only cater to tourists
Foreigners to
and
tour. Yeah.
foreigners.
And
Yes,
so that's why.
and the locals. So when there's no tourism, their mall suffers
Right.
because, uh, yeah,
The locals can't come in
right,
there and shop. It's too pricey.
exactly.
Too pricey.
So got to just kind of keep that in mind. Now, well, other thing that concerns me about malls, I look at the malls in the United States. Some are still thriving, but
Right.
a lot of them are suffering because the retail giant Amazon and even Walmart
Hmm.
has sucked out a lot of the uh, power from those places because people buy online, especially when deliver. And that brings me up another. That
But
go
you know
ahead.
what it makes me think?
Hmm.
I don't think that will be the situation with in across the African continent, because keep in mind that African continent, many countries are cash based. They're
Right, but
cash.
but that's what I'm getting
But
to.
as they grow,
But that's where the growth. There's a great growth opportunity in online sales.
hmm
The problem that Africa is suffering with is distribution. Now, I'll tell you one of the ways they're solving distribution in China is people will order things from. They have a competitive site that's competes with Amazon,
right.
and I forget the name of it,
You mean
but I'll look at it
Alibaba?
later. No, it's not Alibaba.
Alibaba.
It's another site. But what they do is people order from that site,
Right.
and a guy just like on a motorcycle or a three wheeler, he
The,
packages all their stuff. He comes to a particular location in town,
hmm
and he sits there maybe an hour or so with all
with
of
the
their goods.
products.
And people come, and they come, especially people in China. It's so many people. There's the high rises are They're more than high rises in the apartments. So there's a lot of people in one community. So that's one of the ways they do that.
Mm.
Who is it? What she say?
She says
That's
that
what
is
I'm
what
going.
I'm going to do with my condo I bought in Kenya. Is a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, and an extra room for a nanny.
Ooh, I like
Smart. You're
that. You
smart.
stole my idea. You need to give me 10. You need to give me ten
She
percent.
she already has
She
the
stole my
property.
idea. She need to give me 10%.
It's already there. That's very good. So see, you're on board. That's right. That's right. You get your property and you
Exactly,
Airbnb it
exactly.
out.
And seeing the thing is,
Yes.
whereas you bought yours, which I think is a brilliant idea,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at doing what is called arbitrage, meaning that I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking as to get my feet wet, and will be for other investors.
Mm-hmm.
And
To test it.
Africa Rain, you may want to look at how to get investors. I like to know more about what you're doing, but to test it is to lease a 1 or 2 year lease,
Mm-hmm.
and then do the
Due
uh,
diligence and see how it
due
works.
diligence, and
Mm-hmm.
do the Airbnb,
Right.
do the subleasing, and then it plus be a place I can come stay when I want to come.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So basically, we're gonna have to wrap it up. One of the things I think is important is digital online sales and marketing. I think that is going to be a huge growth opportunity for people in the diaspora and
Mm-hmm.
on the continent.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. My words are not working right, but because that's where it's all getting to is online digital marketing. And as
Mm.
that grows, then you're going to see the growth of many of the young and the intelligent
Of course.
on the
That.
continent, because they'll be able to compete worldwide
Mm-hmm.
without the same cost. That's what happened a lot in the United States when the internet started to get better and better and better and better,
Mhm.
it killed off a lot of tech jobs that they were making. I mean, just money hand over fist. And then all of a sudden, they start farming those tech jobs out to India, mostly India. India has, I think, probably the most graduating engineers
Yep.
in the world, and I think maybe then China. But you can fact check me on that. I could be wrong, but it's definitely more in the United States. So they start farming all that stuff out for about a quarter of the cost. So anyway, that's where I see the hub is going to pull it all together. Is that going to be the digital online marketing and promotion and stuff like that? And we're actively looking for a digital marketer for our business on the continent. We were in Ghana and we were had some people we were going to interview, but they never came through. So
I'll be back because I have a point to make about what Africa Rain said, but I need to go.
yeah, so basically that's what we're doing. And let me see what African Rain says. That is what I'm going into. I also bought land in Nanyuk, if I said that right, Kenya, to start building again. So that is what my heart a build, rent, short-term rental, and long-term rental. Africa Rain, we need to talk about investment opportunities. We need to talk about that because right now I'm involved in some different levels of mortgaging and notes and investments and things like that. So we have to like talk more about that. And we need to have African Rain. We need to have an interview with you so we can share with other people how they can get in because this is the ground level. This is where the action is. This is where it is. It's on the continent of Africa. So basically, I'm thinking in terms of the business that I think has the most power. Oh, but let me go back real quick first about marketing. That's where I think we need to work with on the continent is packaging and marketing.
Yes, yes.
Because I was I remember in Senegal, I was drinking it was two drinks. One was a ginger drink, and it was another drink I had. It was a fruit that was local to Senegal. And the packaging and marketing was horrible. The product was way above anything I had in the United States.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting around trying to
Always.
figure out how can I get this in the United States? Now, I didn't think it through. I was just kind of brainstorming.
Mhm.
But that's one of the things that um
Branding.
yeah, branding and
That's one of the things that I didn't
right.
list. Is the branding.
And the
You're correct.
fit and finish of things like
Mhm.
in Europe, United States, and many of the more developed countries, and I don't mean developed countries in
Mhm.
like they're better. I'm just
No.
saying in terms of manufacturing
Right.
and
Right.
so forth. Fit and finish is important. What I mean
Oh
by fit and
yes.
finishings is you go into many of the buildings on the continent of Africa. The buildings are rock solid. I mean, they're beautiful. I mean, everything. But you go look at the light switch. The light switch is just a little off.
Mm.
Your window may not be, the door may not be straight. Maybe the
Right.
door is just raised a little bit.
Right.
You know, it'll be just little things. Not, it doesn't make the place not livable. I
Right.
mean, the place is just as livable as any other place, but it's just those little things that many of the people in the United States kind of get put off by.
Right.
So that's one of the things you have to work on: fit and finish.
And that goes with collaboration
Mhm.
because like our team in Ghana, like we have a lot of products that we have made over the years. We've continued and we've done business and we watched their businesses grow and ours as well. But one thing that when we're creating with them, that's one of the things we always say we have to create it for the market that it's going to, that we can't have something that's just off slight a little bit. So it's kind of helped. I've watched some of the people that we work with through the years, and it's helped to uh, build and grow the business. But I left out right quick. You know what I was thinking also, this is back to when you were saying there are going to be many of the young people on the continent, not to cut out any the older, the elders
Hmm.
or the mature. Yes, we're going to see a lot of growth and creation. It makes me think about, okay, so we have Uber, right? And then they have it's Uber in Ghana. I'm going to use Ghana again as an example. So don't hate if you because it's just what I see. It's my observation. So instead of Jeff, what's the one you like to use because it's
Bolt.
less Bolt. Bolt. So Bolt is a Ghanaian created by a Ghanaian.
No, no, no.
Was
So
it?
no, it was created in um
It's not created by the
no,
Ghanaian.
no, it was I think it was maybe Austria, but I'm not sure. I'm probably
Oh,
wrong about that.
oh,
But let me say
well,
this about Bolt.
scratch that.
No, don't necessarily
Yeah.
scratch it. Bolt operated better with the local market.
Oh, okay.
And that's what Bolt did. Like
Because
Bolt,
it's cash.
yes, because
Hmm.
Uber, you paid in advance and it was not cash payment and that sort of
And it
thing.
took so much money from
Right.
the
And
people who
Uber
were
took
doing it.
took more money. It
Too
cost
much.
more and took more.
Hmm.
Bolt allowed you to pay cash when the driver came and it cost a little bit less. And because
Uh,
in a cash-based business, that is what people would want and it fit
okay.
better with the local economy.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay.
So Isaac says, but I will continue saying one mineral resources, one factory. And as I said the other time, that's what I'm working towards. Okay, okay, we might want to have you come on also,
Yeah,
Isaac, and
I've
connect.
already committed Africa Rain to have an interview
Okay,
because she's uh, uh, fully involved in the investment and the
yes,
opportunities in real estate.
because that's
So
how we
I like
learn.
her.
That's how we learn from each other, and how we prosper is we're sharing the information and so forth. And then plus you get so many great ideas. But thank you for that. I thought that Bolt was created, but still, my point is, I'm in agreement with what you said, is that you're going to see more growth, more innovation. It's there. So as education you continue, it's just that the youth do not need to leave the continent to get or gain more education. It needs to be there. It needs to remain in on the continent growing, because what happens is they leave and they go to Europe, they go to the States. It's good to receive an education elsewhere,
Mhm.
but however, they could return. But I can't really tell people people what to do. But that's just what I see. It says, yes, King, I will give you and your wife a donation from it. Also, what donation did you talk of?
I told her
Oh,
I told her that she stole my idea. She owed me 10%.
oh, oh.
So
What?
so
Okay, that's
if it's
good.
that easy for me to con people on the internet, I'm gonna just have an internet channel where I just tell people they
You
owe
are
me money.
you are
That's all
not.
I'm gonna do.
No,
Just go and say you owe me
no, we
money.
got enough people doing that. 100% yes, we got enough people. No cons here, no cons here. Just sharing and of great business ideas, and connecting with some wonderful, wonderful supporters. Okay, I hope that this has been good, because this is what you guys asked for.
So we have to give our what we think our top
Oh,
for today. What
okay.
is your top? Uh, if you
Actually,
started a business right now, what would you? Well, let's
okay,
clarify.
okay.
We're talking about today. If I went in and started a business
Well,
on the
we
continent
actually
today,
have, okay,
what would I do? Go ahead.
okay.
What would you say?
Well, actually, we have the business that we're in now is mostly exporting goods from Ghana and whatever countries we're going into. We do a lot of creation and collaboration with the artisans and so forth. Um, and plus we uh I know I'm going around about, but I
Hmm.
want to kind of explain, because some people may not know. We have a nonprofit that supports schools, schools, and it started out schools and orphanages on the continent. And so I'm going to continue doing that. We're going to continue doing that. But I see myself moving towards agricultural farming, okay, and also education, and in the sector also of special education, because that's my expertise where I'm working my day job, right? And
Mhm.
so I seek to partner and grow, and who knows, maybe create a school someday. I don't know. It if it's God's will, it will happen. But I do see those two things because I do value farming and all of that because of my upbringing and watching my grandmother. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I've toyed with three different things. Say if I wanted to start long term and where what I would want to start today, and it's sort of in agriculture also,
Oh, okay.
digital marketing in some
Mm,
sort of way,
mm,
and real estate. So if I
mm.
started
Real
today,
estate. Yeah,
what
I
I
agree.
would probably all those are kind of long term plays, but I would want to start today with the idea I have for Airbnb is rent a place, lease a place for a year,
Yeah, I agree.
and then of course that would have to tie in with marketing, online marketing,
Hmm.
and lease it out to Airbnb and see for a year because that would be a way for you to test the market for under $5,000,
Hmm.
and because uh, most of us, as a certain age, we can stand to invest $5,000. Now, it's not going to cost $5,000,
Right.
but what I'm saying is, you say that's my cap, and I have enough money with $5,000. I have enough to invest. I
Hmm.
have enough to manage, and I have enough that if I lose a little bit, I have enough cushion in order
Right.
to
I'm not going to be
try to
hungry.
resurrect what's going on.
Okay.
That's how I would start. Now, even though we do have a business already, and it's a uh
Businesses. Yeah.
right, and
Couple of them.
that one's a good one also, where we have manufacturing and stuff worked and
Hmm.
brought here.
Right.
Since we're already doing that, I'm saying something different. I could have said that,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
Now, in
that's
terms of the
good.
cheapest, if you just wanted to get started with anything, what would you say?
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned real estate, definitely.
Mhm.
Because I'm going to tell you, even here in our country of residence, US, real estate, real estate abroad, because it's really important to, in my opinion, because we talk with, oh gosh, what's the name? Frederick,
Mhm.
the business of, it's a hotel where we stayed, about creating, because it's something that's on my heart to create affordable, low cost, because you have affordable homes, for your middle class, upper, you have affordable homes, but then there's also a need for low income that we've learned in Ghana to create the housing. So the Airbnb, yes, I think that's something we'll be
I'm
ready
speaking.
to jump
Yeah,
into.
this is purely speaking of business in terms of strategies on making money. Now, when you start talking about serving the community, then we're
I
talking
can make
about low
money with
cost.
that too.
Yeah, it's a
You
little
can make
harder to
money.
make money with low cost
I
housing.
know.
Now, I'm not being harsh.
Well,
Don't we're all for
yeah,
helping, and we do
yes,
actually help, but I'm saying pure business.
right.
I'm not talking about, we're talking about where something sustainable that you're going to grow, that you're
Yes.
going to
Well,
make
it would
money
be the
on.
real estate.
The low cost
Yes.
housing can grow, but the issue that you're going to have with that is you're almost going to have some sort of governmental support,
Mm,
nonprofit business support, investment support, the
right.
support you're going to need, because you're serving a community that has demonstrated that they're not going to have the ability to get into certain homes. So when you serve in
Perhaps.
that community, you really have to think it through. What can they afford, and can
Well,
you
that's
build something to a
that.
quality product that they can afford?
Okay. Well, that's long term, but that's
Hmm.
still something that's needed.
Oh
Are
yes,
the
yes,
low cost.
that
So
is
I
true.
would, because like people they build for prosperity. That's a good thing, and for
Mhm.
the upper and the middle class, that's a great thing.
Mhm.
But I think that also there's a need um, to build for the low income, and it's not low income like in the United States low income, because I know you think when I say low income, you think of the how it is here, where it's handout, handout, handout. I
Right, but
don't think
see,
it's so much handout, handout as the opportunity. It's
yeah,
different
and you have
in
to look at the geographical and
yes,
cultural makeup of
yes,
people who are. Just think about when we went to
yeah.
Namibia, and we went and visited the uh, uh, which
Africa
one?
Ray laughing.
Which one we visited the Himba. When we went to the Himba tribe, and we
Right,
went there.
right.
Now
Hey,
there is
they didn't ask for
right now. What
yeah.
I'm pointing out is that geography and culture is a whole. It's different in terms of what you're talking about low cost
No, no,
housing there.
no, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about maybe I should clarify. I'm talking about men and women who wish to acquire, say, low cost, um, the opportunity to how it's set up where they want 2 years. You know how
Hmm.
Michael is always telling us sometimes it's a struggle for him to come up with 2 years. This would take more planning and more thinking, because see how especially I'm talking about Ghana. The system is different in that there's not a way to really track, I think, people, and that's why that month to month um, renting opportunity is not there. You see, remember the guy that we interviewed
Well,
was
yeah,
saying that it's 100 different Kwames.
right.
So
So
which Kwame is it? And so
right, I
yeah,
got you.
so
So we'll take this
oh,
up.
thank you,
We'll
Africa Ray.
probably take this up
But
at
it's
another time because we've been on for a minute,
and
and
thank you for
unless
sharing, Africa Rain. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for all joining us and commenting. It's good to dialogue. It's good to have dialogue, and we love that you're sharing your ideas, and keep sharing. I'll ask again what topics you want to hit, and then we'll try. I think this one is probably one where really you can just break it down, and we can kind of tell how, kind of map how we would do it, and yeah, and then just share with you.
right,
Thank you,
and
Isaac.
and back
Yes,
to
Africa Rainbow.
and back to what we were saying in terms of the least expensive thing you can do. Probably the least expensive thing you can do is connect with somebody on one of the social media networks who's trying to sell, rent, or whatever their home, and you go out to your group and create your video, whatever,
Hmm.
and say this person is no. This is how some people do it. They say these are homes for sale. They won't necessarily point to the person.
Right,
They'll say this is what's for sale.
right.
Let me know if you're interested. And then when you make that connection, you get a commission. That's probably the cheapest way to make you a few dollars. And it's also, it could be the trickiest too, because you have to have a you have to be able to communicate well to both parties, and you have to be able to be honest with people that you are getting a commission if it goes through.
Mm. True, and you have to know who you're dealing.
And then another way to
With
cheap
also,
way
he
is
said cheap, cheap.
you go to someone who, like, and what we do is, right, we have a lot of stuff made, designed, and
Hmm.
manufactured,
Hmm.
and we sell it online in different pop-up stores here in the United States. You go to someone who makes things, designs, whatever, and you may do it yourself.
Hmm.
You connect with somebody in the United States. You say, make me X amount of these. Once you make them, send them. And
All
once I
the
send them,
time.
I sell them, and I give
Hmm.
you commission on my sales. And
Hmm.
that one is a cheap way to get in too. Is inexpensive, but there's got to be a lot of trust when you start doing things on
Yeah.
consignment and commission like that. So and there's some other ways that if you're a hundredaire, I always say if you're not a millionaire, maybe you're a
100.
thousandaire. If you're not a thousandaire, maybe you're a hundredaire. But there are
Oh,
ways, and always keep in mind in terms of business, the more time, the less money you have, the more time you gotta
spin.
spend,
Correct. That's correct.
and the more money you have, the less time you need to spend. You can pay for these things.
Mm-hmm.
So that balance is usually as a tipping point. It's a tipping point between time and money, and you want to get to the point where you're not where every minute you make, you do the dollar comes in. You want to have your minutes bring in more dollars. 1 minute used to bring $1. Now 1 minute brings $2.
Mm-hmm.
Now 1 minute brings $10.
Right.
Now 1 minute brings, and that's
And
the
so
whole
on.
idea behind business growth. So,
Mm-hmm.
we're in the trenches, so we're there with you.
Right. So hopefully one day soon we'll all be where we need to be.
Okay.
But it's been very, very good. Like I said, I think this is a topic we'll definitely visit again and again, probably looking at specific business. Like I said, it's many people that we meet in different countries that we stay in connection with. That's the one thing. I definitely would say if you haven't visited, but many people on here right now have a footprint on the continent, I would highly suggest that you visit before you make a business decision. Now, can you make business decision before visiting?
Yes.
Yes, we've done it in
Exactly.
South Africa. I've done it before. Before we made investment, we hadn't visited, but it was sound. We were able to do it. Why? Because we talked to others who have made investment with this company.
Right.
So
And you don't want to go in
not
too
blind.
deep. You don't want to go in too deep on your
Mm-mm,
first venture. I'm
mm-mm.
saying when you haven't
Visited.
physically been at someone's place, visited,
Mm-hmm,
whatever.
mm-hmm.
And those relationships are usually pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
We can go on and on about this, but
Right,
we've
but we've
yeah.
talked your ear off, and we appreciate you all for stopping by. Okay, and we appreciate your support. And yes, thank you for comments, share. I'll ask again. I don't know if next week is Mother's Day. I don't know. Maybe I'll take it off. Maybe not. It
I know
just
maybe we'll
depends.
do it Saturday, but
Oh yes,
we shall
we'll probably
see.
switch up. We'll
We
probably
shall
switch up.
see. And keep in mind
Yes.
that I'm looking into that idea I said about um, rentals. It has to be in a decent neighborhood that a visitor would want to come,
Mm-hmm.
and then if they have a long-term rental, that the landlord or whoever the property owner
With
would be
sublease.
okay with vacancy and subleasing, because there would be some vacancies if you don't have someone there, and
Right.
subleasing.
Right.
And then I'm looking at also uh, a person who can go and clean up between visits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you got some ideas, shoot it to me, and we need to have an interview with my brother Isaac and in African Rain. We
And
need to have an
yeah,
interview. So
well,
we
next time we could have them to just come on. I could just put a link right.
okay, yeah, we got to
I
do
could
that.
have done that right now, but it's kind of they may be ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do that next time. Have you guys come on and talk and tell us about what you're doing, because it makes it more interesting. I probably should have been thinking about that this time, but I didn't. You gonna play us out or
Yeah, I don't know. I had created a song
forgot
at
the
the
song?
beginning, and I forgot what it was now. But let me create another song. Some like yeah. Da 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 da. Something like that.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
da 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 da. Something like it. It was better when I started.
All
I
right.
lost it.
It works.
All
So
right.
I hope that your week goes well. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. And thank you again for support. We'll see you here Saturday or maybe Sunday. But until then, God bless. And thank you again for